Hello and welcome everyone, this is 5-Star General and I've got a special guest with me today.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages.
It's Nem-OK!
Oh yeah. How
So
are you doing, Mr. 5-Star, sir?
we were going ahead and looking at those replays that we got from Friday, courtesy of you and Soom. Some awesome Imperial Guard versus Tyranid action. And we want to get your take on all of this. And we also want to give some proper commentary to, as you guys can see here, this game on Greentooth Gorge that kind of got a little fudged up due to some technical difficulties at the time. But anyway, so I'm paused at 5 in the game, and just, you there, Nem?
Yeah, I'm ready to go.
Alright, so we're both at 5, so we'll just get this started really quickly, because I think you'll be able to help us out from there. So, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So Nem, you're up top and Soom's down below. What capping order did you go for here, and why did you pick that specific cap order on this map?
Well, I'm going first for the requisition points because I do a heavy requisition build. So I can pump out some units earlier if I get my requisition points straight away. So the Lord General in front, because I didn't know which hero Zoom is playing, so maybe Lictor or something, so my Lord General can take a little more damage on my guardsman.
Yeah, without taking, well, I wouldn't say any losses, because the Lord General is one of those heroes that actually can take losses, or one of the only heroes that can take losses, so. But if you look at the bottom now towards Soom, we see he's going, again, pretty somewhat typical capping order here. But he's got a nice little tunnel next to that secondary requisition point that kind of gives him pretty decent access to the power. You've got your Sentinel going right to that power, though, right as we talk about it. So, again, you want to talk about Sentinel priority, too?
Yeah, with the first Central, I simply go for some Harris, do some damage to his units, maybe catches his former guns around, so I can deal some more damage. And yeah, of course he has to cap his side, so I can catch squads without support and do some damage.
So we see here that Soom already has 3 Termagants. He's begun upgrading Toxin stacks on one of them, and the other 2 are still Toxin stack free. But eventually he's going to get the 4 Termagants. And did you have any idea that you were going to see that many Termagants this game?
No. I was a bit surprised about the Termagants. I expected some warrior with Battle String or something. So, yeah, or maybe Ravenous.
So maybe I'll do that. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, Termagants, like 3 or 4 of them, I haven't seen this at all, so it's quite interesting.
So we still have 3 at the moment, but obviously he's kind of building towards a little more. He seems to be getting upgrades at the moment. Or no, actually he just backed off one and go ahead and get that mobile. So you're doing a lot of bleed. This is what makes this build really tough. I can, like, you know, I tried some 3x Shooter stuff as orcs against double Sentinel early on. And, you know, the early stage is always the toughest thing because the 3x Sentinels would just go ahead and bleed down the Shootas really well before they got Big Shooter. Here comes the Big Shooter, my bad, Lord General trying to get out of here. 1 health, 0 health. Oh, what happened there?
Yeah, I didn't watch him at all. I was doing something else, I don't know. But the strength of this build is just go with 2 guardsmen and sentinel at one side and cap with the other guardsman on the other side. So he has to focus on my sentinel, and yeah, I can cap his points with 1 guardsman squad.
So Soom's still actually just not able to get the requisition together to get that 4th Termagant squad yet. So this is kind of coming a little, I guess, kind of full circle what I said about like 3x Big Shooter. really tough to pull off to get the upgrades and the tech going and everything. But here comes that 4 Termagant Brood right now, as you're still right up against this generator farm here.
Yeah, you can harass the generators really good with 2 Sentinels, and if you back them up with 2 Guardsmen, it does a lot of damage. So.
And the whole time, though, I don't believe you went for Flamers just about ever.
Yeah, I don't like the Flamers because most of the time you need the plasma guns on tier 2, so even Flamers are really good against Termagants and Tormagants, but yeah, if Warriors hit the field or Revenants hit the field, you want to go plasma. And to be honest, you don't need the Flamer in the early game to harass the generators. You have 2 Sentinels to do this, so...
Yeah, that's true. And also, I'd imagine Flamer doesn't benefit nearly as much from Sniper Rifle as Plasma and whatever else does, so...
Well, the Flamer range with Sniper Rifle is some sort of ridiculous. It's funny to see it, but yeah, with Plasma you just outrange everything, so...
Yeah. So we do see actually this 4th Termagant does seem to be allowing Soom to push back out against you decently. Then again, you had to spend a little bit of requisition getting your Lord General back. Actually, this is delayed tier 2 for you, it seems like.
Yeah, but it's not that bad for me, because it's 4 Termagant squads, each upgraded with Toxic Sex. We spent a lot of money in this, and yeah, I was able to decap his power farm, so...
And then we get to see me just kind of giving, not to you guys, just to anyone who could read at that point. Like, oh, by the way, guys, anyone who can read this on the stream, gonna get those fixed, don't worry.
And here again, I go with the 2 Sentinels to harass his power, and he just needs his forces at his generator, so I can cap the other side again, and yeah. So he can't split his forces.
So see, now you are going tier 2, and he is actually about 90 power, so he's not going to end up too far behind. Again, a big chunk of that we mentioned before is because he did get that Lord General kill in, which helped a lot, but you're really putting the pressure on here. Finally going ahead, taking out this tunnel here, going to go ahead and decapture that. I believe you'll get a chance to decapture this fully mature requisition node over there on the right side. Termagant's getting pounded in the middle. The left side of your Sentinels are just holding off like 3 Termagants at once. Oh, a triple stomp!
And I was able to decap his strike point with the right, so every loss is really going to hurt him now, so...
Yeah. I mean, you've just taken away the map at this point, and man, that is just absolutely brutal.
He just now has the power to work T2, so...
Now, I do like what he did with the crippling poison there on the guardsmen, that we're trying to go back and repair one of the Sentinels. One had crippling poison them, tried to prevent that from happening, catch them in a position where the Sentinels were not supporting at that time, so you could force them off, but you did a good job there, just knowing you could tank it and not panicking, not retreating or anything, just waiting for it to wear off and getting them back to the Sentinels, which are the real priority.
Yeah, no, it was always chasing after the Termagant with my Lord General, so...
Yeah.
He couldn't really focus fire as a guardsman.
Exactly. He's moving to the right now with some... There's like a 2 out of 8 Termagant squad moving to the right. I can only describe this as a function of him just like wanting points at this point, just like capping power. But you know, you've only got 1 guardsman squad over there, so actually it really isn't a bad move by Soom here to just get these things out here really quick and just start capping, going to town. So I can't say it's bad. He actually seems to have done a good job there. But he just lost his left power again, his main power. And here comes that Chimera you love so much.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right, and of course, because he does this, he ends up losing a Termagant squad, I think. Oh, no, that's right. That one that was down to 2 ends up running away, and then this Ravener call-in that goes ahead and replenishes everything here. Maybe he actually knew he was going to do that. That's why he sent everything out like he did. It's actually a really... I didn't realize the whole kind of, like, evolution of that strategic intent there from Soom originally when I watched this, so... I guess I do have to give pretty big props to Soom then for going ahead and doing that in that way.
Yeah.
He did lose his Hormigon squad though, a little maybe carelessly or something, but... So here he comes, he's got a Venom Brood now, so you're going to have to watch out the Chimera. And these Raveners are Devourer now too, so... This is a pretty big Tyranid range mob at this point.
Yeah, but as I said, just go for Plasma on the Guardsman squad, and they can do a lot of damage to the Raveners. So.
Yeah, the Venom Brood. Alright, so you're going to get a Termagant squad down here. But you lose a Guardsman squad. Oh, are you definitely going to die? Oh, it's so close. Not quite dead, though. Hey, what's the Sentinel doing? What's the Sentinel doing? What's the Sentinel doing?
Yeah, I was looking for a ground pound, but...
Oh, no, damn.
I think it was on cooldown.
You're like, your whole force!
Yeah, but I have almost every requisition point on, and yeah. At this point, I was so far ahead.
Yeah, I do like that you're just, again, staying calm here, focus firing the warriors, and that basically provides you the synapse boom you need to go ahead and force everything else off.
Yeah, for Termagant squads with ranged synapses, does a lot of damage.
Yeah, this is where I kind of thought, you know, when I originally saw it in Tier 1, I'm like, oh, it's just bleeding so much. And then, you know, I saw, oh, he got to Tier 2, and I'm like, oh, second he got to Tier 2, he went ahead and he got... Oh, by the way, I want to point this out here. This usage of Execute, I really liked here. And it's really evident how effective it was, too. Because number one, you had the new Chimera coming out. Number two Termagant squads we saw there were just forced to retreat because of what you did. You literally just denied a huge chunk of map control to Soom by doing that.
Yeah, and most of the time, if you see the guardsman retreating, your opponent just starts to give orders to cap points or something. So if you retreat and execute one of your guardsmen, most of the time your opponent is surprised that your guardsman just firing at you.
Yeah. There was another creeping barrage, I'm sure. Oh, yes, there was. As I recall, yeah, you got the Venom Brood caught up in it. Yeah, and so at this point you're just kind of, again, using your tech advantage, getting some Ogrins out, and using these two fully upgraded Guardsman squads, even without Sentinel support, doing really well just with this Chimera.
Yeah, they're already level 2, so...
I know this looks a little brutal, but train reinforced here, and then because you've already made the Ogrin purchase, your economy can kind of tank this a little bit, you know, or you can, I guess I can say that, like your economy is sort of alright at the moment because you've made a lot of the key purchases you need to it. So yeah, it's alright to be really low on wreck. Also, you've got, well actually, Soom has done a pretty decent job of pushing back out on the map here. So I do have to ask, so, Ogrins against 4x Termagants. It's a lot of crippling poison.
Yeah, but they can take a lot of damage and just yeah, soak up the damage, so my guardsmen can just fire all the time.
Yeah, that seems to work. That was kind of what I was figuring. It just seems, again, like one of those things just so unintuitive.
I think he already spent his 4 crippling shots.
Yeah,
so.
I think that is the end of it, because he's just backing off at this point. And just double checking here. Creeping Barrage is on cooldown, right?
It should be. But it's hard to hit with a creeping barrage.
No, it just came off.
Against the Revenant with his tunnel, so.
Oh, that is brutal every time you use it.
Yeah, especially against huge blobs of nits, because they like to blob with the synapse, and yeah. If you hit the barrage, you do a ton of damage.
They did manage to actually kill your Gonad, though.
Yeah, but that isn't so bad, because if the Bonnet is low on HP and you use the Medipack, so doesn't really do a lot, and if you just purchase a new he's back with full HP.
Yeah. So actually, no weapon upgrades on your Lord General, which is a little different from what I've seen from you in other games. Or usually, I guess it's not a preference. It's just, you know, you felt like you didn't need any.
Yeah, because I need him to force close combat on the Tyranids unit. So get with him in a spot to use his buffs and also force melee is a little difficult. So.
All right. So anything else about this game you wanted to point out or talk about?
Well, it went pretty straight, so from start to end. I had a huge resource advantage, so yeah, that's why I won the game.
Alrighty. So this was unfortunately the high point of Friday for you, and we're gonna have to go into some darker times next. But this next game on Outer Reaches was one of the best games I've seen of Dawn of War 2, period, I've seen in a while. So I think you get a pass on losing it just for making a really awesome game out of it.
Yeah, at some point I just thought, yeah, okay, it's a show match. Let's do something. Maybe put out a Baneblade or so. Yeah.
Oh, okay, blame it on the show match, that's why you lost.
And I was pretty tired, so.
Yeah, Soom did a pretty good job of coming back, actually. Alright, so I'm paused at F5.
Yeah, give me a second.
Second granted. Throw clear and inbound. Bound dude to the rescue, kind of.
Soom just answered me, so he can hop on Skype if we want.
Okay, that'd be awesome. He can hop on for his victories. So,
Yay!
let's go ahead and set that up. Can you pop me his Skype?
Yeah, sure.
So guys, we're just waiting for Soom to go ahead and pick up the virtual phone, the Skype phone, the internet phone, the whatever have you phone. The thing that will allow him to talk to both myself and Neb.
Hello.
Hey, Soom, how you doing, man?
Oh, I'm doing fine.
You sound pretty
So,
awesome.
you can hear me right now?
Yep, I can hear you just fine. You're coming in great.
Oh, okay. I've already loaded the game, so we can start directly.
Alright, awesome. Pause at 5 seconds.
Ready to go.
Alright, so I'll do the countdown. We'll start in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Alright, so we've got NemOK in the bottom right and Soom in the bottom left. Soom, I'm going to let you talk about why you swapped heroes to Lictor Alpha and what you're looking to do in this game after losing that first game on Friday.
Well, we played some show matches, and that's why I wanted to play all heroes and wanted to show some different BOs. And I think I did a pretty good job.
Yeah, I was surprised
Yeah,
at how relatively well the 4x Termagants worked despite you losing in the first game.
Yeah, in the first game that barrage killed almost all units. In the very last moment, maybe you remember that situation.
Yeah.
And I lost about 20-30 models,
Oh.
and this was pretty huge, and I wasn't able to recover from this. Yeah, the strategy was to keep up in teching, because IG mostly can prevent all power investments in tier 1 and mostly goes directly into tier 2, and I wanted to stay ahead in tech. And in tier 2 I wanted to boost my units via the Venom Brute, and yeah, with the Ravina call-in you can reinforce the units, and this works pretty well, at least in ladder. I tried this BO in the auto matches, and it worked almost in all games. I thought it would work against them as well. Maybe I was wrong.
Don't mess with the king, baby.
Yeah.
But no, it did. It definitely showed a lot more promise than I think most people would expect it to. So let's go and refocus on this game. Either you guys have any comments on what's going on right now, right here?
Yeah, back and forth action at the top.
Alright, that's very descriptive, Nem. Good job.
Yeah, just pushed him back, so...
Yeah. The early game against IG is really difficult. You always have problems to keep your units alive, and the sentinels cause losses very fast, and it's always a huge setback when you lose 5 or 6 Termagants early on, and that's why I try to prevent all losses. But it seems I failed a little in this case.
So I also noticed that you're using your Lictor Alpha very proactively here. Not at the moment, but in that previous battle. Just about every chance you get with the Lictor Alpha, you're stealthing in, and you're getting behind whatever guardsman squad is repairing the Sentinel, and you're tying up at least one of them. You're preventing them from repairing, and you're preventing them from adding their range GPS. It's kind of a nice little upgrade over the Ravener Alpha that we saw previously, so I thought it was just one of those really nice things to kind of go ahead and note. It should be kind of obvious, maybe that's what you should be doing for a lot of Lictor Alpha players, but nonetheless, just kind of one of those things to point out.
Well, I have to add at this point that I don't have that much experience against IG. I played about maybe 10 one-on-ones against IG. Since beta I played, I guess, 3 times against them, or 4 times. And I don't have that much experience, and I have to test much more to find working BOs.
So it's much more of sort of just kind of an unknown. There's always a lot of experimentation every time you see Imperial Guard at the moment.
Yeah, I think it's hard at the moment. You don't really find a lot of strong Tyranid players or really strong IG players, so it's hard to tell which BO is going to work and which one just...
At least against 3 guardsmen, squads, and 2 sentinels. As you can see, the firepower is really insane, and even warriors have to retreat and fall back.
Yeah, you do have a nice little bastion here, but it seems like just a single stomp from these sentinels will be able to come in and destroy that. The one thing I'm kind of noticing with these barbed stranglers here is doing a very good job suppressing the guardsmen. But I know, like, one of my friends who plays Tyranids a bit always said that you want to kind of get in there and use them to melee the sentinels. That's actually what they're best at against the sentinels. And I think you do actually get to do that a bit more later in the game. But by the way, you actually did manage to bring a sentinel down there by a melee, more or less, with those Hormigons. So this is kind of something you did kind of use a little bit more in the third game as well. But do you want to elaborate on exactly how you intended to control the sentinels with this particular force composition?
I mostly try to take down these sentinels in tier 2 because it's not cost effective to force to kill a sentinel at least. And he mostly survives, and I try to prevent all losses in tier 1 going into tier 2 and finish off the sentinels, because the longer the game goes, as more the sentinels lose effectiveness, and that's why I try to get some time.
Yeah.
And yeah.
So also here we've got like 2. Oh, sorry.
No.
Okay.
Talk on.
So we've got 2 interesting wargear choices here, actually. One by yourself and then one by Nem. The one that you went ahead and chose is the Scything Talons, which is, for those who don't know, it's a 40 power tier 1 wargear. Very expensive on power. And then we have, for Nem, actually the Carapace armor, which also is not inexpensive itself. So do you guys each want to go ahead and talk about why you chose each of those wargears?
Simply because the suppression of the Barbed Strangler and the suppression of the Victor Alpha, so it's a direct counter to his wargear, and it's I think 5 energy cheaper than the tail claws things from the Victor Alpha, so yeah.
I brought that wargear because it's very effective against blobs. Against guardsmen. It's also at heavy melee, so you can deal with weaker tanks as well. For example, a Manticore, and you just cloak into his base and finish off the Manticore without the Crow's claws. You don't need them at all. You can finish off this unit. 1 second. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's one of the guys in the chat there. Plenty of macro in the game, just it's all streamlined. So you don't spend APM on it, but oh man, does it ever impact the way the game goes down. But meanwhile, Creeping Barrage and them, you want to talk a little bit about your Creeping Barrages being so awesome.
I think
killing a Termagant squad there and leaving, what, 3 models left in the other one?
Yeah.
And then this runaway Commissar, too, here, by the way.
Yeah, I was thinking about, no flashlight, please, no flashlight, no, I don't want to die, no, please, no flashlight.
I'm sorry.
That's alright.
But he survived.
So we were just talking about how Nem has amazing Creeping Barrages, and we go ahead and look at your forces at the moment, Soom. I guess we can see the outcome of that.
Yeah. I really had some bad luck in all engagements, and every barrage killed almost all units, and it was really frustrating for me.
On that one, it seemed like, did you just kind of like not notice it was coming in, or?
Well, I just didn't notice the barrage and was busy somewhere else. And
Yeah.
Scratching head about what you should do.
So meanwhile, you've got Gene Stealers, and I'm not sure, is this something that you would you still have gotten the Gene Stealers had the barrage killed all your units before you decided to purchase them, or is this something that even with the barrage having killed the majority of your forces that you still feel comfortable having purchased?
At this point, I was going to concede, to be honest. I was asking myself how to win this game, but I said maybe I can get some retreat kills with these Gene Stealers, and it seems it worked pretty well so far. And I tried. As I said, I don't have that much experience in this matchup, and I tested out some new BOs. And to be honest, my unit composition is quite useless. I have a Thermal Gun Squad, a Venom Brute, a Barber Strangler, and a Gene Stealer, and none of these units have any synergy with each other. And yeah.
We're actually going to see all three kinds of warriors in a pretty brief period of time here, so I guess when we get to that, I'll let you talk a little more about that. Oh, Neb, you actually have a flamer.
Yay! Yeah, I was thinking about getting a flamer against this huge blob of thermal guns, but no thermal guns left.
Actually, it worked really. You know what? It worked really well against. It worked really well against those spore mines. I mean, that may have saved you from getting spore mine bombed. You know, right there, which could have been a little brutal. So, meanwhile, nice job on the left side here by Nem, by the way, of just kind of going around. You actually went ahead and not only decaptured the natural requisition point of Soom, but you actually matured it in your favor. Meanwhile, you know, Soom's just been doing whatever he can to stay in the game at this point.
Yeah, to decapture the requisition points is really necessary against Tyranids, because if he loses a battle, he has to reinforce a lot of units, and if you deny him his requisition, so he will fall behind.
So, meanwhile, you're making Catachan Devils here. Can you walk us through that unit choice and why you went with Catachans when so many times previously in other games you just have completely ignored their existence?
Simply, I was so annoyed about this lictor, so I just went for detection. And you have nothing else to detect with a Lord General, so yeah.
So here we have all three kinds of warriors that I mentioned, and another Creeping Mirage. This is a much better dodge here, by the way, Soom. I think you still need to maybe work on you know, your knowledge of Creeping Mirage a little bit here, because that Barb Strangler just barely, even though it's outside the little indicators there, just barely hops back in. But I like the dodge much better overall anyway, though. I also like the Swarm. I was talking about this during the cast on Friday, that this is actually really effective here. These Spore Mines just kind of being around here allow your Venom Brood to kind of get like free shots off on the Chimera where it's not getting repaired, because you know, the Guardsmen can't really stand out there against the... can't really stand up to the Spore Mines, so they've got to get in the Chimera. It's their only protection, but if they're in the Chimera, they're not, you know, repairing the Chimera, so... Anyway, any of you guys, either of you guys want to talk about what's going on?
At this point, I was thinking, damn, I shouldn't have bought the flamer. Because against 3 warrior brutes it's just useless.
I lost my jeans, by the way.
Yeah, I saw. This is the second time now. What did you lose your Gene Stealers to?
I don't know. Suddenly they disappeared.
I actually, this is the second time watching this.
Ground.
The second time watching this, and yeah, I've still yet to figure that out.
Oh, this annoying Victor Alpha.
Again, really good usage of it though, and then the stand firm ability they're going down to prevent these barbed stranglers from being too useful. I mean, they still do a decent amount of area effect damage, so I guess that's worth pointing out. But against just the amount of plasma squads here, it's a lot of damage coming in. Now here's the first Tyrant Guard, and Soom, what are you thinking at this point with the Tyrant Guard coming out?
Well, you have two possibilities to counter such such a guardsman spam. The first possibility is going for a Zoan trove. It also counters the Chimera as well. And the other possibility is going for a Tyrant Guard, which is pretty insane as well. And both units do a great job. And it's depending on the situation. I was just trying some stuff. I never ever have tested the Tyrant Guard before against IG. It was the very first time, and I thought maybe it works. And yeah, in the end, I think they did a great job.
I think you definitely cemented this in the third game as well, with Tyrant Guards being pretty nice against Imperial Guard, actually. I would almost be kind of interested maybe if you either, in this game, were able to, like, I don't know, like, I'm just kind of thinking, like, if those Gene Stealers had been something other than Gene Stealers, but I don't know if it would have, how that would have changed the rest of the game. You know, if they had been something other than Gene Stealers and stayed alive.
Yeah. The Gene Stealer loss was really pathetic. It was useless.
So again, here you got the triple warriors coming in. They're all doing a pretty nice job, although just got to get out of there pretty quick. And nice 4-mine column coming in. And here comes the Tyrant Guard.
Charge!
And again, a bit of what I talked about with these spore mines here, just kind of preventing guardsmen from repairing the Chimera. So these Venom Brutes just getting like 3 shots in on this thing. Although then they do kind of come down here to try and deal with the catechins. I felt it was a bit of a mistake personally, because I felt like, you know, had you left them up by the Chimera, you could have kept them trapped in the Chimera and had the Tyrant Guard and the Venom Brute go ahead and keep attacking the Chimera, and then dealt with the catechins later. But that was my own view on things. I'm not sure if you have any reason why that wouldn't work, or...
Well, against a Tyrant Guard, you only need a setup team with a laser cannon. And, this unit counters the Tyrant Guard without any problems. And it can't move anymore. And it even dies when the shield wall is up.
Yeah, but if you go for a less cannon team, it's pretty useless after you kill the Tyrant Guard, so...
Tell this to your Baneblade.
Well... yeah.
Maybe this engagement changed the Hood War.
And we saw actually, Nem, you were thinking about a Lemon Russ here, and just gonna ask both of you, had Nem gone through that Lemon Russ, do you think the outcome of this game would have been changed?
I think the Lemon Russ would have been the better choice, simply because you can kite a lot better with him against everything, and He does a pretty good job against almost everything, so...
Going for tanks on outer reaches is always a big risk.
The passing is really...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially in the middle part of the map, it's so annoying with the passing.
Tons of objects which block your way, and
Looks like you can drive over them, but you just can't.
suddenly, yeah, you can't, and rage, and your tank goes down.
It's like the worst map for vehicles.
Yeah, maybe jungle is way.
Yeah, jungle is bad too.
So this is, I mean, you retreated this Barb Strangler just about as soon as you possibly could there, Soom, and that blob is just so brutal that you just kind of lost the model no matter what there. Okay, that's what the tower cover was. Actually went ahead and started attacking the improvised explosive device a little bit there.
Was a little surprised that he don't kill it with his venom brood.
Yeah, he doesn't really need to, though, honestly. With 3 warrior broods out, it's very tough to accidentally walk over that thing. Again, here...
Yeah, but one bad retreat way or so. And,
yeah. Again, nice job here with the stopping the retreat to make sure the... Well, to try and at least give yourself a chance to dodge these spore mines. Possibly saving the squad there.
Yeah, I was hoping he will focus on the not retreated squad so my devils can retreat without losses.
So we've got a Baneblade about 3/4 completed, and we have another Tyrant Guard about 2/3 complete. And this is why I kind of feel like that Lehman Russ, even with tank pathing being what it is on this map and everything, may have shifted the tides of battle here just because it's given Soom the chance to go ahead and get the Gene Stealers out and another Tyrant Guard in preparation for this Baneblade, as opposed to, well, you know, at most just the Gene Stealers for that Lehman Russ.
Yeah, but to be honest, I haven't built a Baneblade in a 1v1 against a good player yet, so...
Yeah, no, I'm not criticizing, because, oh, and there goes... This, we talked about this in the interview on Friday with Nem, and this was the main cannon of the Baneblade. Originally, when I saw that, I just saw this, like, dead warrior all of a sudden. I'm like, oh, that's the Baneblade's main cannon. And I thought it was just like your Venom Brood or the Adrenal Gland, just like one of the members taking one of those lulls they pass where it just goes off and does whatever it wants to, right? Like, you know, just so you only have a single warrior there, but it's part of a larger squad. And then I realized, wait, did Soom ever actually reinforce that Barb Strangler that was down to 1 model before? And then I look and I'm like, wait a minute, there's no Barb Strangler. Oh, Soom.
Yeah, you usually never reinforce Barber Stranglers. It just takes resources and yeah, kills your upkeep. And
you might want to reconsider that with a Baneblade main cannon around.
Yeah, you mostly can prevent the squad loss if you press X soon enough. But in this case, maybe
very nice.
I should have reinforced this warrior, at least with 1 additional model.
Yeah. Yeah, at least 2, I think, gives you a chance against that main cannon of, you know, surviving. But then again, that thing has wiped entire, like, level 3 tack squads on me, so... No comment on its balance whatsoever. No comment. None. Maybe you should have a red cost. I said I wasn't commenting on balance.
I still think 2 Lehman Russ are way better than 1 Baneblade.
What's way better?
2 Lehman Russ.
Oh, maybe, I don't know, that main cannon makes me, depends on what you're up against. But anyway, speaking of, you know, back to things that are going on right now, these dual Tyrant Guards are performing exceptionally well here in just about every manner possible. They're like literally just backing this Baneblade into a corner. The Creeping Barrage here is really all that saves Nem, I guess I want to say, because it forces off these Venom Broods. And had those Venom Broods been able to fire a little bit longer, we see this Baneblade is 700, 600, 500, 400, 430, 352, it's like in the 200s for health, which is incredibly low.
It looks so funny with this movement of the Beyblade.
I think the game was lost at this point. When you take a look at VPs and unit composition, you clearly see that IG is going to lose as soon as the Baneblade goes down, and he is in a very bad spot and won't survive.
Yeah, and it was almost at the end Popcat, so I couldn't really build anything, so yeah.
Yeah, that is the one nice thing about the Baneblade compared to other faction super units, or other non-orc super units, I should say. It actually really does slaughter your population.
If you still 3 guardsmen and devils around, your Popcat is so high, so yeah.
Yeah. By the way, I want to point out, I really like what you do with your Tyrant Guards at this point soon to go ahead and let them heal up. Specifically where you put them, which is in like the highest risk area. Like, you just want to make sure that you continue to have the advantage at this point. You want to make sure that your main farm is secured. You go ahead and put 2 big things here. They're going to make sure that no one is touching that farm.
Well, I was I had max supply already, and yeah, I just searched for a safe place.
Oh, okay, that works too. Maybe I read a little too much into it. Well, there were multiple good reasons. We'll leave it at that. So we've got some Ogryns at this point, and Ogryn's actually not too bad against his force composition. I think really the only thing in here that's particularly scary to them are the Gene Stealers, honestly, right?
Tyrant Guards do quite well against Ogryns, so, especially if you have 2 on the field. Gene Stealers can kill your Ogryns pretty easy, so yeah.
But, you know, at least Ogryns versus Tyrant Guard, yeah, I mean, I guess Tyrant Guard is probably more cost-effective. Ooh, this is a nice, oh, that's right, it's going the other way, though. I was kind of expecting it to go the way from the bottom part and upwards, as opposed to from the victory point. And
yeah, I just wanted to
get him off
stop
the VP,
decap, so yeah.
We saw actually Soom grew much wiser to the barrages as the game went on here. Going from losing hordes and hordes of units, or actually 2 squads and 1 barrage, down to nothing, actually, this one.
The fun thing about the barrage is you can sometimes fool your opponent if you put it always in like one direction, or it's obvious that you would use it in this direction, just use it in the other way. So it's kind of surprising, and sometimes he just moves right in, so it takes a lot of damage.
Yeah, very nice usage of Reliable there, by the way, to stop the capping, and then this Tyrannoform, though, is basically the same thing. And, ooh, brutal on those guardsmen.
Yeah, well, guardsmen are born to die, so.
That's an M's take on it, everyone, by the way. Just, Putting that out there for everyone. When you see these 3x guardsman strategies, you now understand them fully.
Yeah, just throw bodies at your opponent. And if you throw enough bodies, even his vehicle can't move because all the bodies block his way, so...
This Venom Brood very close, but that was actually just a special attack, wasn't even a charge. Alright then. And now this is where you got to be worried for the Ogrins with those Gene Stealers. Oof.
Yeah. Ogrins have super heavy armor also, and they really get a lot of damage from Gene Stealers.
Yeah, Gene Stealer's doing that power melee damage, which just tears through any kind of heavy or super heavy armor. It is the designed melee counter, per se, so to speak. So, given that Ogrins aren't super big super units like Terminators, just a single squad of Gene Stealers can be a really big issue for them.
Yeah. So if you face Gene Stealers and you just have Ogrins, you really want to build some devils to use a knockback and then charge in with the Ogrins. Then you can deal pretty well with Gene Stealers.
Yeah. And so meanwhile this is the last stand of Nem in this game, but Soom doing a great job taking down the Chimera there. Distracting with the one Tyrant Guard, coming in with the dual Venom Broods, bringing that down. And this is just carnage at this point. Anyone have any more comments here?
Hold the line, damn it!
I've got a last pistol pointed at your head, I'll shoot!
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the retreat of that Catachan squad is at the end. The dual Tyrant Guards coming here, the Flamer Guardsmen. Level 3 Tyrant Guard here, level 4 Tyrant Guard there. That's pretty brutal in and of itself.
Yeah. With almost 3000 HP.
And Rocket Run coming in there, but this Nem, I expect more from you. with all those creeping barrages, I mean...
To be honest, I haven't used it at all.
So Nem's strategy, never go tier 3 unless absolutely necessary in competitive play.
Yeah, you can deal with most situations on tier 2, and even now with the buff of the Demon Rust, it's, most time you just go tier 3 because you are pop capped. And yeah, you have enough resources to take tier 3, so...
Yeah, well, that's true. You do use a lot more Guardsman heavy builds, so... once you start getting 3 Guardsman squads, all with Commissar and Sergeant, you're already looking at, like, what, 54 pop just for those 3 squads?
Yeah.
Now, granted, those 3 squads are beastly, but... high maintenance, but beastly.
10 pop with the Chimera, and then...
Yeah, that's true.
I don't know, Ogrins are very pop heavy, Devils are very pop heavy. Heavy weapon teams are heavy pop, so, yeah.
So, Soom, do you have anything to add about, whatever?
I would say that 3 Guardsman squads maybe too much in the late game, and you better spend your pop and your requisition for Ogrins and stuff like that. I don't think that Guardsmans are effective in the late game. As you can see, 1 or 2 Tyrant Guards take them out quite easily, and
I think part of that may go back to that Nem was talking about earlier, that he doesn't really like getting flamers on his Guardsmen because he feels that plasma is just so so much better, right? And of course, this game just happened to be the game where, unlike the previous game where you went like 4x Termagants, this game you actually ended up, you know, because of various issues with creeping barrage and whatnot, getting all 3 different kinds of warriors, then 2 tyrant guards, and then getting 2 venom broods, an adrenal gland warrior brood, gene stealers, and 2 tyrant guards as like your final unit composition, which and I think actually there's a lictor in here, a regular lictor in here too, so
yeah,
none of that is a flamer effective against, and I feel like, you know, maybe if that 3rd guardsman squad had been plasma, that's a lot more damage now that he can't really kill the tyrant guards still, but at least when they're up he can bring them down much quicker. So as opposed to the flamer kind of doing, other than the spore mines, it did take care of the spore mines.
At least you need a laser cannon against the shite wall.
Or what about even just the melta gun? I was thinking too for the Lord General. I saw the sniper rifle didn't seem to do very much this game. I think one
I was thinking about it. So Lord General with a melta gun and autocannon should deal at least with one stone wall tyrant guard pretty well. So maybe add then some stormtroopers with melta, and
not to mention the ability it offers is just putting it out there, you know, not bad compared to the sniper rifle ability either, you know, especially in tight, you know, kind of closer quarters map like Outer Reaches where the range is a little bit tougher to put to use, but that kind of sheer just damage buff at, you know, closer ranges, you know, with the plasma and whatever else, again, would just maybe drop warrior models and stuff a little bit faster.
Yeah, that's something I actually thinking about a lot, because you don't really have almost enough sight to use the range buff of the sniper rifle. So maybe just go for the melta. In a lot of situations, maybe it's just a better choice.
Alrighty, well, let's go ahead and get on over to Game 3 then, because we've got about half an hour left, so we'll open up for questions, by the way, guys, after Game 3, because we've got Soom and NemOK in the house. We got both of them here, both really awesome, probably possibly the 2 best players of your races, respectively. I'll let you 2 debate that. I'm sure you're not going to argue with me, but I'm sure other people might, but can't argue.
Just abuse our noobs, so...
Yep.
So this 3rd game was on Seawall. I can't remember who chose the map for this, actually. And if there was any specific reason why they chose it, or it was just... I don't know, Seawall is Seawall, and so we must play on it at some point in a show match, or...
Yep.
No, I think Seawall is one of the most balanced maps, so...
Maybe not the most balanced map, but at least a funny map, and
don't really favor any race, so...
Yeah, and you don't have pathing issues and retreat issues, and no early Gen harassing, and this is this leads mostly to good games.
Yeah, and it was one of the original 3 maps in the original beta, so certainly it's been around for quite some time, so a lot of time to go ahead and figure out exactly how it works and how to go about dealing with it. For anyone who's been with the game since that long ago, we're not talking about Retribution beta, everyone here. We're talking about Dawn of War 2 vanilla beta. So I'm paused at 5. You guys ready up at 5?
Ready when you are, so.
Yep.
Alright, so we're going to go ahead and start this in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So, Soom, you went Hive Tyrant this game. Again, you mentioned that you wanted to do something different each game, and you're doing something incredibly different this game. You're going, like, all melee. Just, before we even get into this, describe your strategy, what you expected to do, and how you expected to do it.
was the very first BO in the beta, and I played a lot with dual homogans and HT or Victor Alpha against IG, and yeah, I had a lot of good results with this hero and this BO, and well, as I said, I don't have played many games against IG. I mostly play 2-on-2 right now, and there you barely or hardly meet an IG or an IG who is able to keep his area.
Yeah, mostly you're meeting Space Marines nowadays in 2v2.
Yeah,
I wonder why.
Space Marines and
Not
Chaos.
saying anything.
But to be honest, Space Marines and IG together is quite strong in 2v2.
Yeah, unfortunately I don't feel like Relic really took 2v2 or 3v3 into mind when they did their most recent patch, but anyway though, we're seeing again that these Hormagaunts are actually already getting up and decapturing Nem's natural requisition point, and this is just a really nice harass-based opening here for you, Soom.
Yeah, I try to prevent early losses, as I said before, and that's why I opened up with 2 squads only, and going for heavy or heavier squads, so I don't have any reinforcements in the game, and the best you can do is that you push through your opponent and force retreats and decap the opponent's points and slow down the game, and that's what I was trying to do. And as you can see, the map is quite uncapped except the bottom.
Yeah, but you're pushing into right now actually.
Nem has no gen farm. He has finally a second requisition point right now, and it's quite equal. So I was quite happy with the map control right now.
So here come Warriors, and get your Hive Tyrant up top with Adrenal Gland, Hormagaunts, and these Warriors now are moving towards the middle. So you seem to still be seeding the bottom. It's a little bit tougher than all melee build to go ahead and deal with that bottom area. With the Lord General going ahead and kiting with that building the way he is right now.
Yeah.
But you're pressing overall, so it looks like you've got decent map control still. And here comes Nem's final Tier 1 force composition with that second Sentinel. Meanwhile, you're getting extended carapace here. You want to talk a little bit about the reasoning behind that? Well, I think that maybe showed just a little bit of it right there.
As you can see, the carapace gives you a huge speed boost, and you can charge through all forces of your opponent and cause heavy losses. And at least it's a great counter against all blobs, and so far what I've seen by Nem was that he always went for 5 or 6 squads in Tier 1, and I thought this time I try some blob counters.
No running talents though, which I don't want to say I was surprised by it, but
it would be a possibility to to go for this war gear, but I skipped this just because Crushing Claws finally deal insane damage against Ogrins, which are the counter against my melee build. And the second thing is that the carapace takes a lot of energy, and it takes 60 power to charge, and you can charge more or less every minute, and I think even less. And that's why I mostly don't use both weapons, because you don't have the power, and finally you have rare situations when this weapon becomes useful. I guess I had 1 or 2 situations when I charged in later on in the game, but except those 2 situations I wouldn't have be able to use this weapon.
And earlier we just saw, about maybe a minute ago, you were building actually a second Warrior Brood, and you canceled that What was the thought process behind starting to build that, and then why did you cancel that?
Well, I cancelled the warrior just because the map control was yeah, was quite equal, and I don't need further squads to get control in the game. And at this point, I was pushing him with 2 victory points. My power was yeah. He was going to harass my power, but it wasn't a problem at all, and I decided to go into tier 2. And in tier 2, you don't need any power, and you get a Gene Stealer for 50 power, and you can drop a warrior for free power. And that's why I decided to go into tier 2 to get the advantage of the AG warriors and my synapses.
Alrighty, so we do see you're about most of the way to tier 2. Nem is actually behind on going tier 2 for once, or I can't remember if he was ahead the last game or not, but nonetheless, so we see as far as power goes, you're hitting him back just as hard as he hit you, and you know,
Yep.
Hormagaunts versus Sentinels. Hormagaunts are like, oh man, we can do this job better than Sentinels can.
Yeah, that's why I try to take fast as possible, and I think I have a slightly map advantage.
Oh, you definitely do. I mean, you hit that power at like the perfect time. I want to point that out too. Like, hitting the power at any time is really nice, but there are certain times when you hit the power with that timing, like you just did. Like when your opponent just goes tier 2. Like your opponent, if they're on top of their game, is gonna like press the tier 2 button when they have about 0 power, or you know, just enough power. So by the time they actually start taking tier 2, they're gonna have 0 power left in the bank. And so now they're in a position where they're getting almost no power income, but they're going into a spot where now they need like power. Like, you know, Nem needs 60 power for a Chimera, he needs power for his guardsmen to get plasma, he needs power for you know, war gear, he needs power for all these things, and yet you just cut his power source. He's got to now reinvest requisition in that. It just totally screws up his economy. Nem, you want to, I guess you've got something to say?
Yeah, you can play tier 1 without power, but you have really invest a lot of power in tier 2 to hold the ground. So yeah, if you lose the power at one point, it's really hard to come back. You need really map control, you need all the requisition points to get your power back up, and so.
So here we have the warrior column, which goes ahead and reinforces these Hormagaunts there too, alongside bringing in more warriors. So it's going to allow you to go double adrenal gland warriors, and
yeah, the timing was a little unlucky, and my Hummer almost died. But I wanted to reinforce the squad as well, but I finally decided to retreat, and I was lucky enough that Nem didn't focus the squad, and it survived.
Yeah, the one that got down to 6 health. So, meanwhile, it's a very nice stomp there, by the way, by Nem, because, you know, you can't really control the physics of the stomp all the time, but it just so happened to go ahead and, now this stomp, though, not quite as nice. It actually not too bad there, but the one before that, though, the Sentinel's completely surrounded by Hormagaunts and warriors, and just knocked everything back every which way. But now we got this Tyrant Guard out here, and this is going to be the first of 2 this game, once again. And now, Nem, we see something a little different from you with this heavy weapons team. Or heavy weapons, yeah, team, okay.
Yeah, I was, saw the Tyrant Guard and thought, yeah, okay, it was difficult in the last game, so I want something to do with the Tyrant Guard. And yeah, so I went for a heavy weapon team.
Again, the Tyrant Guard's still able to just kind of sit here at the moment, you know, flashlights, like, flash, 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 Tyrant Guard, like, lol, flashlights. Oh, so, Soom, by the way, what's up with these warriors by this building on the left side here? Right outside of your base. They're just, like, standing in it. Like, I was trying to figure out if you were trying to hide them, or...
it was misclick maybe. I think I will retreat the squad as well. There was no higher plan.
Just happened to be stuck in a building like that, alright? I thought you were trying to hide them there for a minute. I'm like, I don't know though, but you know, it'd be interesting if you did try to hide them like that. So big battle in the middle of the moment. Basically all sorts of melee coming in here. And I just want to swap over to the economic view here. Nem's wreck, which we're just going to see is going to continue to drop off this entire battle because basically Soom is winning this battle. But Nem is staying in it by just paying out his posterior region to just keep reinforcing. We actually do see a guardsman squad go down up in the top left there to an Adrenal Gland warrior group. And so this is kind of like the story of the rest of the game. Like this battle alone just kind of sets the precedent for everything else that's come here because Soom, you just do such a great job of just bleeding everything down here. The Chimera barely gets touched, but you know, the Chimera is good and bad at the same time. It's kind of like when other player, like Space Marines or whatever, complain about orcs, you know, reinforcing ad infinitum out of a truck. It's like, well, kind of paying a lot to do that. And it's exactly what Imperial Guard is doing here, particularly because these sergeants, my bad, not these sergeants, but these guardsman squads don't have, or didn't have Commissar yet, so they're still kind of paying a little more to reinforce per se. Or not technically, but you know, a little more often reinforcing, so while doing less damage. So again, a nice timing attack on that front too.
Damn Tyrant Guard.
As you can see, it tanks so much damage. You really need a laser cannon.
Yeah. Yeah, again, or maybe the Melta might be something, you know, the Lord General to go in there and just barely push it over, but the autocannon here just not doing enough, and this is just, again, just one Tyrant Guard.
Right now I would need rendering claws.
So second heavy weapon team coming out here, and I do have to kind of double check here. You know, you didn't realize that there's a second Tyrant Guard by this point, right now?
Yeah.
So just trying to go ahead and double team that one Tyrant Guard with two heavy weapon squads. You know, again, two autocannons actually really aren't that bad against you know, the rest of the Tyranid force either. Like these, you'll see if you kind of watch these Ormagons and you watch the heavy weapons teams here with the autocannons, you'll see actually they do really good. Well, they just decimate Ormagons, I should say. But you know, obviously their primary target has to be these Tyrant Guards. And again, just all of this melee here just coming in and really mopping up. Tyrant Guards providing the staying power, and Warrior Birds providing everything else. So at this point now, we go ahead and look at your economy. You're still reinforcing just constantly to stay in the game at this point. Are you kind of locked in a position where you feel at this point where you just kind of you have to do what you can with what you have, but you're...
Yeah, at this point I really need to win a fight, a really good fight, so you really need to try to take the fights and kill something, so...
But certainly
as you see, I'm almost pop capped, and
yeah,
my income is horrible, so
yeah, your income's
your
income's actually better than Soom's. So you're both at the same exact pop count, which is kind of interesting. But we see Soom is finally going to head decapturing that middle point. Just going to go ahead and swing things back in his favor on that front. Well, he was decapturing it, I should say. Ooh. Ow!
Oh my guns.
Hadn't seen a creeping barrage yet. How'd I knew that one was coming?
They survived another creeping barrage earlier, so...
shudder to think what you would do if Basilisk were actually in this game, as opposed to just off-map call-ins.
Yeah, I would trade the Manticore for Basilisk, so...
So Soom here, very nice tactic here. We kind of take a look at this from Nem's viewpoint. And these Tyrant Guards very nicely kind of obscured here. You can still shoot at the one, but to get this autocannon set up is kind of a chore, really. If I can try and get that view, whatever. But, you know, he's kind of very nicely set up here. This really forces Nem to kind of come out a lot further than he wanted to kind of go ahead and hit these Tyrant Guards. And meanwhile, we see that Soom, you're just kind of like letting these Tyrant Guards sit here and harassing with your Hormigon or warriors.
Stunned.
Well, I was holding all 3 victory points and I had no reason to engage with these Tyrant Guards.
Yeah.
So I was waiting for a good moment to move in, and as my HD was crushing through Nem's army, I decided to go.
Yeah, it definitely created a very nice opening, and then now you've got kind of the capability to sustain this. And again, you know, you're just able to get your Tyrant Guards here to the other side of these outcroppings, which kind of forces, again, it forces them forward, forces them away from his base choke points, it forces them more into this open area where you can kind of just move your forces in here and kind of get in there a bit more.
And meanwhile, I was able to cap the whole map, and as you can see, Nem almost lost all points.
And victory points were favoring Nem like 315 to 170 at one point, so if not even worse than that. So, you know, you're just about to cross him right now, 169, 170, so there you go, now you're ahead. And again, you know, looking at, you're going tier 3. You see that Nem is at 94 out of 100 pop, you're at 83 out of 100, but your force composition is proving superior thus far.
As I said, warriors or guardsmen are not very effective in the later tiers, and especially against heavy armored units.
This is a great. I just love this. I'm looking at just this view. Like, it's just your forces just collapse around them, and just like this awesome, really nice arc that you just absolutely said. And you go carnage in the chat, and it really was. It was really nicely set up. How was there a specific way you went about setting that up, or is it just?
It was just in my mind, and there were so many dead forces, and I wanted to say any comment to.
But yeah, so Tyranid players, that is how you surround your opponent and get in there and just destroy them. There was. Oh yeah, I mean, just when you, I almost want to. I wish there was a rewind feature. I could just go rewind that and just, you know, just kind of rewind, go backwards and forwards, just, you know, multiple times on that same little sequence there of your force just collapsing in. And there was just no chance for Nem to do anything about that. It was like you just had the perfect incoming position that he just couldn't do anything. This is a little more brute force, but at this point you can, I mean, you kind of set up for yourself earlier that you can kind of do this now. And again, just want to double check here. Nem's requisition is literally at, like, hovering around 0. And this is all because he's just constantly reinforcing left and right. Has very little requisition income, has almost no map control. There goes the Chimera.
Hey, you know, the game is lost when you can't reinforce your guardsmen.
Yeah. It's also usually a bad sign when your power farm is completely your opponents with all 3 of your generators in their favor too, and it's your natural power farm.
Maybe. I'm not sure.
Oh, and then I missed this. You probably couldn't see it on the mini-map, but Soom not afraid to go ahead and use charge to go ahead and get up to that top victory point. It's 170 to 28. I mean, as much as he's winning force composition-wise and everything else, And as much as there shouldn't be a Baneblade or anything coming, on the off chance there's a Baneblade coming out, I'm sure, Soom, you could take it, but, you know, just showing that expediency, that just kind of on-the-ballness to, you know, really just finish off the game and make sure you get those victory points sliding in your favor as quickly as possible, so you give Nem the least possible amount of time that's possible, I guess, to go ahead and react to that. Just, again, one of those small things that a lot of players won't do, but just it really differentiates the good players from the great players. And that's GG. So, you guys have any comments on?
It was a very nice game at all, and I really enjoyed the series and all 3 games.
Yeah, it's always fun to play against Soom.
Well, we definitely...
Of course, he's a turret abuser. So.
Well, you're a Lord General abuser now, haven't you heard?
Yeah, but I'm working on something new, so...
Oh, ooh, Inquisitor abuser now? No.
We will see.
Ooh. Well, there are a lot of Inquisitors actually in the growth. I mean, it was kind of refreshing to have a Lord General actually. But I know I usually play Inquisitor when I play Imperial Guard, but you know, I'll do whatever.
Whatever necessary to win the game.
And to ask questions, and more questions, and questions on top of questions. So speaking of questions, does anyone in the, you guys in the chat, we've got like NemOK and Soom here, so I really expect that you guys have to have questions, like, there must be questions, so, you know, just fire them off. And we'll see if we can't get these 2 awesome guys to go ahead and answer those questions for you.
No.
There is a lot of chat, so that is good. There's a lot more chat than there has been, so I'm always happy about that. I actually haven't even been able to keep up with all the chat that's been going on. So Soom, why do you play Tyranids?
Well, I started playing Tyranids in the very first beta in Dawn of War 2. And I really enjoyed the faction. I decided to play Tyranids because I played some Dawn of War 1 before, and I already knew all races. I knew the Space Marines, I knew the Orcs, and all the other stuff. And I decided to play the new race, and it was kind of funny. You had so much great stuff in the vanilla balancing. You had lictors in tier 2, you had great units in tier 3, you had huge monsters, and that's why I play Tyranids.
Alright, so next question
and
is...
of course, because I wear Imba.
Yeah.
So next question in the chat is, when dealing with vehicles, is there a fine line between choosing a mobile anti-vehicle squad or a setup, or is it easier to choose between them? It's a little bit oddly worded at the end there, but I think you guys can basically mobile AV or setup AV. Which do you guys, well, I think Soom, this is a little tough for Tyranids here to have a setup AV, but
yeah.
I guess maybe Nem, you know...
Fortified Venom Brutes.
I think snare weapons are always the way to go, and they are quite nasty, and your opponent probably doesn't see the weapon squad, and suddenly his tank is gone, and that's why I would prefer setup teams.
And,
but I'm just a Tyranid, I don't have such weapons, and sadly enough I have to play with crap units like Venoms, which mostly fails their targets, and...
Well, hey, I'm an orc over here. I've got BB... Well, you know, BB looters are nice, but they don't have a snare, so... I do at least feel some of your pain there, but, you know, at the same time they do that super high damage, so I'll take that. Nem,
Yep.
what do you have to say on the matter?
Yeah, it depends on the vehicle you face. If you face a fast vehicle like War Truck or Razorback, you want to go for mobile AV. simply to catch up with it and not to get flanked. But if you face something like a looted tank or predator tank, you want a laser cannon.
Alright, so let's see what other questions we have here. We have Nem, do you play Commissar Lord? Now, obviously, I think we all know that you play Lord General, but I guess the question is more, you know, do you play Inquisitor or Commissar Lord or something? At all, I guess might be the better way to put it.
Yeah, I played Commissar Lord at the start of the beta a lot, but yeah, doesn't work out for me. So simply because I don't like to play close combat heroes. So yeah,
Yeah,
but maybe we will see a surprise at the next tournament.
Ooh. Well, you know, you can just get Inspire Terror, and then you've got a little bit of range added to the Commissar Lord there.
Yeah, I think it would be pretty nice if you could upgrade a bolt pistol or something. But this little laser pistol is so. Even the commissars of the guardsman squad have a huge bolt pistol.
But you got to remember his the pistol that the Commissar Lord has actually does about 7. It does more damage to heavy infantry, I think, than the Inquisitor's plasma gun does to heavy infantry. Just kind of lulls you when you think about it, because then the Inquisitor's does like 7 DPS, and so when you add like the 1.5x, it gets to like 11 or something like that. But then his does 17 DPS of like piercing, but when you take the 33% out of that, it still ends up being a little higher.
Yeah, but my point is it just looks stupid. If you hit, I don't know which level you get this shiny gold pistol. It looks so stupid. I don't know.
So any other questions for either of these guys in the chat? Well, I've got a question while they think of more questions. Nem, I know you were the first one to sign up for Open Season Tournament D, but Soom, you've yet to actually go forth with an Open Season tournament. Game Replay's Open Season, so is D going to be the time that we actually we get to see you?
I think I have some troubles to take part in the tournaments because they take the whole weekend, and I just cannot spend that much time for a tournament, and sadly I think I won't be able to participate in the further tournaments. Yeah.
That's unfortunate. Well, we'll try to. There will certainly be more events, so we'll see. See if we can find something to accommodate your schedule a little better.
I played in so many cups and tournaments that I really can skip this one, and maybe next time I will participate and maybe show some great tournament play. Maybe not. Alright,
well, I still really keep that invitation open to you to go ahead and try and get in at least one of the open season tournaments, because I do believe that when the format is probably going to be different for Gross 2, and I'm just going to put it out there that if it is different, it will really have helped you to have gotten some points in the first one, particularly as far as not having to play all weekend. So if you can find one weekend where you can, you know, kind of go through with it now, then I think the next one might be a little bit better for you. But I won't dwell too much on that. I'll leave that up to you.
In my opinion, the tournament should be organized in one day or maybe 2 days. That the most matches are played in the first day, up to the semi-final maybe, and the last matches are going to be played the next day, and this would be really maybe. I don't know. I don't think that so many people have the whole weekend for a computer game. And
what is unfortunate, one of those things where Gross is really looking to go ahead and expand not only, you know, kind of the Dawn of War 2 tournament scene, and, you know, of course has 128 slots open, And but, you know, it also is looking to really try and expand the amount of games casted and everything else. So a lot of the extra time that's there is kind of built in so that every round can have, you know, about at least 2 casts per casting team, which in turn kind of allows a lot of games to go out there and be cast, and really allows fans to actually get involved, which is something that up until this point, you know, honestly, we've had you know, there's been a steady stream of Dawn of War 2 tournaments, but there hasn't been a big fan base following it. It's definitely grown since the Game Replay's open season started. So, but yeah, definitely like formats. It is a format at the moment where it's very hour intensive and stuff for players to partake in, but you know, down the road, or you know, maybe next growth and whatnot, going to be trying to look at definitely structuring it a little bit differently to take that burden off while still maintaining the streaming and everything. But it's kind of more like a standard tournament at the moment, crammed into a non-standard goal of sorts. But I think that maybe. But anyway, so on with the questions that are actually coming from the chat here, which are, how important is it to get fast on a vehicle, or can you sometimes get away and delay it?
Depends on the matchup. Against orcs, you will always almost see a war truck or something. So it's nice to kill it early, but you don't really have to prepare for it, because if you have a strong tier 1, you can delay your AV. So.
Yeah, especially like the war truck, by the way, and I think the war truck is probably the best example of a vehicle, honestly, where you actually don't need to deal with it. Don't concern yourself overly with it, because the worst thing a war truck can really do to you is not its damage, which is absolutely terrible. What the war truck can do to you is number one, it boosts orc mobility, it offers infield reinforce. Chimera does that too, right? And then you've also got that it can dump squads next to your own squad. So basically, as long as you can find other ways of dealing with that, you don't need to directly deal with it through AV. And, you know, again, infield reinforce is always, we talked about it a lot in that third game that we just showed today, where it's kind of that mixed blessing and curse of, like, when you're reinforcing in the field, your squads tend to never be at full while they're in the field, so they tend to never be at full combat strength, which means that they're outputting less damage, but taking more damage in return, losing models faster, therefore you're reinforcing them faster, and you're reinforcing them right after the other, and so your economy just tanks from doing that. So, you know, again, you can definitely deal with light vehicles like that in other ways, but probably the Blood Crusher is the other end of the spectrum, where you do need to find some solution for that, and that does come quite early.
Yeah, but most races have some sort of good counter for the Blood Crusher. I think SM especially has melter bombs on the ASMs, and
orcs just have to hide a beam Ludus somewhere and hope that they hide it well. That's basically where orcs are at.
I know, orc AV is terrible.
It's not as bad as a lot of people make it out to be, but at the same time, Blood Crusher is the one situation where it can be really brutal. And it's Chaos versus Orcs is already a brutal, like, you don't win in Tier 1. Like, that's not where you win that mashup. And yet, you know, Tier 2 is, it starts no better. So it just is, it's kind of one of those interesting things. But, you know, again, no match or anything is so imbalanced that skill can't make up for it. Can't make up for it at the moment, so. Unless anyone here wants to contradict me.
You have to imba viewpoint, so.
So let's see. Soom Tyranids. Okay, Soom with Tyranids dominate map control and powerful in Tier 1. Real life power. Oh, should they? Okay. So I guess the question is more about. Okay, so the question here, I'm just going to rephrase it, reinterpret it a little bit for you here, Carnivore. Directed at Soom, on whether you feel that Tyranids should have kind of a powerful Tier 1 map control and a powerful Tier 1 economy, and I don't really agree with the low upkeep, honestly, which is stated in the question, but I guess the better way to put this, because I read your posts on similar matters, and I actually agree with a lot of what you said in them, so if you kind of want to explain the Tyranid Tier 1 situation just a bit, and kind of why it works the way it does, and maybe what other races should look to do to deal with that?
Well, I think there are many bias and prejudices around, and people say something, hear something, and write all these stuff into the forums. And I think most of these posts are dumb. Regarding the upkeep, I don't think that the upkeep is broken.
I would just ignore it, honestly.
The upkeep is pretty high for the most units. Warriors, for example, have the same upkeep like tactical squads or ASMs. The same goes for Raveners. Even Hormagaunts or Termagants have a pretty high upkeep, higher, for example, than
they fixed them, man.
a tactical, a Chaos tactical Space Marine. So I don't understand when a Termagant squad have a higher upkeep than a tactical Marine.
Yeah, actually, I'll just step in really quickly on the upkeep, because I've done, I don't know if you've seen some of my posts, but I've done a lot of, like, it's not about upkeep, it's about upkeep per population. And when it comes to upkeep per population, Termagants and Hormagaunts, as I recall, since Retribution now, I think they're at like 30.25 upkeep or something like that for the the whole squad. And there are like 8 population squads, and that's a pretty sizable tax on 2 of your basic squads. No other race in the game, off the top of my head, has their basic 2 squads, either of their basic 2 squads, put at anything worse than 2.55 upkeep per second, which is upkeep per population. My bad, that's per minute actually. Per minute per population. And so like 2.55 is your standard default, you know, per population figure that just about every unit in the game almost adheres to that. There are some exceptions like Chaos Space Marines have a low upkeep, but Heretics have a standard upkeep. So the point, like Heretics have standard upkeep because they because Heretics die a lot and they have standard upkeep, CSM then are kind of like, okay, they're a little more economical. It's kind of one of the reasons why you're seeing in the early game, Chaos is really, really strong, but they still can stall out later in the game because of Heretics just are a pretty big drain. But anyway, yeah, I can't think of any race other than Tyranids, and no, there just isn't. Everything starts with 2.55 upkeep per population, except for Tyranids. So that is
true.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, you have to look at the game, or in the game, and when you watch games, you will see that the upkeep isn't any higher than the other races. When both players have the same amount of requisition and power, or only requisition, and both players have the same amount of requisition points, you won't have a big difference between the requisition income. And this is the most important thing. If you have an upkeep which is pretty high, even when you have about 10 squads in the field with maybe 3,000 requisition, and when your opponent have so many requisition points as well on the field, or so many requisition, and have a much lower income, then you could say something is wrong with the upkeep. But as far as I've seen my games and watched other games and analyzed games, I don't see any greater difference between the income.
There's a great example this game even actually where you know, we were looking at
in the last game I think at 160 requisition per minute, and NEM was I think about 200 or something like that. We had equal requisition points and equal pop count, and NEM was still ahead. And so I cannot agree with statements like Tyranids have a lower upkeep. This is not true.
Yeah, no, they definitely don't. That's what I was saying. I was actually saying to just ignore that part of the question because it really isn't true. But yeah, I actually kind of a little happy that you didn't, because it is. I think we got to go into a little bit of the mechanics of upkeep there and just kind of clarify that, number one, it's not true, and number two, why it isn't true. Number three, if you just go ahead and look at this last replay we looked through, it's obviously not true. And you know, basically, if you watch that whole game there, like who was ahead in terms of income there, really rested on you. Kind of neither of you guys could really for quite a while hold any requisition points in the map except your natural, and then that one in the middle that was just below the victory point. But you know, it was basically that one just below the victory point that when that changed hands, that was when the actual requisition economy really changed hands in terms of who was ahead in terms of requisition income. So let's see, next question here is, when dealing with global resources, is it best to think of them as a plan, for example save it for a cooldown or etc., or to be flexible with them and use them when a situation presents itself?
Well, it's depending on your situation, on your hero and your opponent. For example, the Hive Tyrant can drop down warriors or a brood nest, which can be really effective. Sadly enough, I rarely see Tyrant players using the brood nest, but it's one of the best war gears in tier 1, and you can save up your zeal for such stuff, or even for the Lictor Alpha Scout. You can reveal the area around the opponent's hero, or you can use Catalyst when you play as the Ravina Alpha.
Yep.
Yeah. And you also can save up your zeal for a random formation. You have a lot of possibilities to use your zeal. There's no greater plan. I would suggest that you just wait for a good moment, and when you see that Catalyst would be a good choice right now, use it. Don't think about further globals, just use it. When you see a brood nest is needed, then use it. And when you hit a tier 3 and you see you have 450 zeal, save some and wait for a Tyranno formation and finish the game.
Nem, do you have anything to say on that matter?
No, I have to agree with Soom. If you see the opportunity to use a global to do damage or help you out, use it.
I may not have the credentials to be odd man out here, but I'm going to be odd man out. I'm going to say that depending on your hero, and you're going to see this a lot with Orcs and Space Marines probably, more so than any other faction in the game, you may need to have a plan. Commando Knob, I should say, is probably one of the biggest heroes where having that sort of plan comes into the biggest amount of play. Because you've got the Commando call on Commandos is the sneakiest for 300 requisition and 200 red, which is a lot of red when you think about just getting a tier 2 and using it immediately, unless you're playing against Ravener Alpha. Then you can go ahead and kill tunnels and get some of that red, and you've got a little more flexibility. But particularly against someone like Space Marines, if you have a need for commandos in your force composition, and early tier 2 is kind of this point where it's not so far away that you can't, figure it out per se, right? Like, you can definitely get a feel for whether or not you're going to want commandos with your build, and there are kind of quite a lot of builds that I will look at and I'll go like, I need commandos the second I hit tier 2. And what it usually means for me is that I can't use Hide the Boys in tier 1. Even though I would like to. And then also, because I'm Orcs, I have to do a lot more red management than just that. I can't just go, well, I can't use Hide the Boys. I also have to watch how many times I WOG. I have to watch my expenditure on aiming, what's that. I have to watch all these kinds of other red expenditures to make sure that I'm not spending so much in tier 1 that I can't gain enough red by tier 2 to be able to pull out commandos when I need them.
Yeah, but to be honest, I think that's simply because of the playstyle of Walk that you need your zeal for the walk. So
yeah, but also you look at Space Marines and Terminators. I mean, Terminators are a lot of times in tier 3. Depending on your build, they can be a pretty vital unit at a key timing, and if you're not able to meet that timing to get that unit out there, it could be significant issues. Same thing for the Warp Spider Exarch, and if you're looking to get a very quick double Warp Spider out in tier 2, then having being able to use the call-in and build Warp Spider simultaneously is also pretty big. So I think depending on the hero And it really comes down a lot of times to Collins. I think as far as the nukes go, I think you guys are completely right. I don't think that there's almost any time ever that you should, like, not use a creeping barrage in an attempt to save up for Rocket Run. But, you know, I think as far as Collins go, I think there are definitely some times where you do need to be aware of your other red expenditures and kind of consider that, okay, if I want this unit, again, the other thing would be like Inquisitor and Beowulf. So I think there's a lot of things like that where you do have to watch things. Actually, Inquisitor and Beowulf's a really good one because you don't want to go ahead and drop a Prometheum Strike, because there are tons of times where you can go, ooh, Prometheum Strike would be awesome right now, but if I do that, I'm not getting a Beowulf, and a lot of times the Beowulf will be the better investment than the Prometheum. But let's see, so we're running a little bit over time. Let's go take about 2 more questions. So we have the global resources one, so question about buying a keyboard and mouse. So yeah, I guess do you I guess go ahead if you want to ask your full question there, Mr. King Reflex. I guess all 3 of us can give our opinions on the keyboards and mice for Dawn of War 2. I guess we could start with what keyboards and mice do you guys use? Do you care? Or are they?
Well, I use a $5 keyboard, a cheap one, because I have killed so many keyboards over the years, and I don't see a point in buying a expensive one. And yeah, I'm using Logitech MX 518 since it was released, so yeah. It's StarCraft 2 mousepad.
Well, I'm a big Razer fan, and I would recommend a Razer mouse, and they are really great. They have a great performance, and yeah. And my keyboard is from Zytec. It's called Cyborg keyboard, and yeah.
And then I guess I gotta go ahead and say where. So I'm apparently Mr. Logitech over here. I've got my G15 Rev 2, which honestly I like it. It's good for a lot of things. It's got a lot of features. My favorite thing about it is it makes casting really awesome because I have the G keys, and like all these overlays and stuff you see going up and down constantly are all just done with G keys. And now they finally added in the ability to you know, hotkey the broadcast, which is something that most other broadcasting suites have had for a while, but XSplit is still in beta, so there's still any features. They just added that in, so I can just manage like the entire broadcast with G keys without having to do any funky stuff on the keyboard. It's really nice. In game, I actually don't use the G keys too much, but I just kind of like the feel of the Logitech keyboard, the G15, I should say. It's just kind of like made for gaming, but you know, you'll find whatever you like. The one thing I've heard mixed things on mechanical keyboards, by the way, as far as RTS goes. I know one of my roommates tried a mechanical keyboard for Dawn of War 2 and hated it, but then my other roommate swears by one for StarCraft 2, so I actually don't know if there's a difference there as far as Dawn of War 2 and StarCraft 2 are concerned for mechanical keyboards. I can tell you, though, that my G15 is not a mechanical keyboard, and it works really well for that. Mouse-wise, I've got a G9X. I had a G9 before this, so I've basically stuck with the G9 forever, and it's my personal favorite mouse with the wide load grip on it. But you know, again, mouse is something that you really have to, I'd say, just get something that's comfortable for you, you know. I mean, both as far as keyboard goes and mouse. I mean, I think Nem is really the one who's really right here, which is that you don't have to spend a lot of money. You just need something that works for you. If you find that you can get by with a keyboard that's not a piece of crap, but you know, that isn't the most expensive thing in the world, you're probably fine. I mean, there isn't, the G15 is really nice, but a lot of it honestly is all about just features, really more so than about feel. So I think the only real difference there is if you find that you need or really want a mechanical keyboard, that's when you kind of go out and you spend a bit more on the feel of the keyboard. But as far as, you know, I want to say everything else I think is just kind of feature creep and bloat and stuff, but those features can be useful, so if you need those, definitely feel free. And then On the mouse side, for RTS games, I don't mind not having thumb buttons too much. I mean, obviously my G9X has two, and I love them to death for everything but RTS games. I don't know why, I just have never been able to make effective use of thumb buttons in RTS games. That may change at some point, but it hasn't yet. Otherwise, just make sure you get something that, you know, is reliable, I guess is the best thing. And something that, you know, you're comfortable, you can comfortably use it for hours on end, I think is the biggest thing with the mouse. So, you know, like the G9X is a claw grip, which works really well for me. But like something like the G5, as far as Logitech goes, or G500, which is, those are not claw grips, might work better. And I'm sure, you know, again, Razer has their whole lineup, so just kind of get a feel, you know, try to actually put your hand on them before you buy, you know, a mouse. That's the biggest
yeah,
thing.
I would just recommend go to a shop and try some stuff out.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing
It's the best way, so...
Oh, sorry. The one thing I might, for Dawn of War 2, is you might want to look into a high DPI mouse. Again, I'm not 100% on this, but I really like having a very high DPI mouse because I come from a Brood War background, so of course in Brood War the resolution is like 640 by 480, and you know, any mouse just reaches the edge of the screen in like half a second, and you're just moving the mouse over the place really quickly. And you know, so it's basically inherently high DPI, even if you're using just a terribly low DPI mouse. DPI is dots per inch, by the way, so I don't know if that shows up differently in non-American countries or something else, but anyway, though, you know, so I'm kind of used to Brood War like that, and I like to have this really high DPI mouse that I can kind of sort of mimic Brood War almost, where I can just get from one side of the screen, one edge of the, my screen to the other edge of my screen really quickly. It's nice to me, but again, it may not be something that's huge for you. So it all comes down to personal preference.
I'm playing at 1500 DPI.
Really? Okay, I'm at like, I don't know, it's just 5700 DPI by default.
Yay! I'm at 400.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, alright.
Yeah, it's simply because I played a long time Counter-Strike and yeah, so it was always better to play with low DPI to
Yeah, I mean 5700 DPI is the
so.
highest my mouse gets, and that's already a pretty high DPI mouse, but dang, alright, so they are advancing mouse technology every day. Alright, so let's see, last question then is, do you guys stick to one or two races, or do you give them all about the same amount of love?
Well, I mostly play custom matches, and in these matches I mostly play Space Marines, to be honest, and sometimes IG. I just play tournaments and in auto matches.
Ah, man, that was perfect.
I guess no one is believing me. I really enjoy playing as Space Marine.
Alright, so Nem, you mostly stick with Imperial Guard, or do you...
Yeah, well, I'm a tabletop guy, so I stick with the races I play most at tabletop, so like Space Marines, Chaos, and of course IG, so but mostly IG. I've played a lot of games with Space Marines after the release, and a lot of games with Chaos after the release of Chaos Rising, so yeah, now it's time for IG.
Alrighty, so personally I, K-Nob is my main, but I play just everything. I mean, I feel it's kind of like, if you're going to commentate Dawn of War 2, you've got to make a really good attempt to understand all the races from all points of view. Tyranids, I feel, are my hardest, like, even... I just feel they're the hardest to get their point of view down. So it's really nice always having someone, or not always, but I mean it's really nice having Soom, having you be here today to help clarify a lot of what you were doing. Because a lot of times I'll guess, you know, I mean, even having had a Tyranid ally for quite a while on 2v2 and stuff, it's still, they just play probably more differently than any other race in the game, so. This comes from, you know, even orcs who have the whole, like, ooh, they generate red and stuff. I still feel like that's not even as different as Tyranids are, but anyway. But yeah, I play basically everything. I try to really, you know, experiment with as much as I can, and just, you know. So I did say that was the last question, but there's gonna be one more question here. Maybe we can do that one more, and then we'll be done. And this really will be the last question. Don't post anymore, because then I'll have to be like, I'm sorry guys, we can't answer that. But it looks like Dishes really put a lot of time into this question, and I've seen Dishes in the chat now for at least like 2 straight weeks, and I feel like we owe him some just awesome props for being an awesome viewer, and we're going to go ahead and give him the like bonus question of the day. So when transitioning from the early to the mid game, how do you make your decisions in either Tier 1 upgrades or Tier 2 tech during the match? Do you favor planned builds, or do you play in response to your opponent's unit compositions, or when you think they what? Alright, well, I think that should be enough to figure it out. Go ahead.
Well, as a Tyranid, you mostly try to get some Raveners on the field, and then you just watch for the power your opponent have spent already, and yeah, you are trying to find the right time to tech. Yeah. You're going to count every single power investment from your opponent, and you watch out when your opponent starts building up the power, and you try to figure out when your opponent hits tier 2 and starts building a tier 2 unit. And until this moment, you are going to try to get some map advantages and trying to get some higher tier units like Raveners or Warriors, and then you are just waiting a little for the first tier 2 units, and when you see Warp Spiders, for example, you're going for Warriors, and when you see maybe fast walkers, you are going for Venom Brood, stuff like that.
Nem?
Yeah, I'm going in the game with a plan, and I try to force my opponent to respond to my build. So if he responds to my build, I'm ahead. So I can get more ahead in form of take to tier 2, and then do a counter to his counter to my counter, so I can even get more ahead. So that's my plan of the game I play normally.
So I guess kind of the follow-up to this is that rarely in a match of Dawn of War 2 are you really going to plan out your build order too far beyond tier 1, right?
Yeah, at some point you have to adjust, but you start with a plan or a build order, and you think, okay, that is good. He needs to do this to counter my build, and if he does that, I can do this, and I'm way ahead. And that's what I'm trying to do in every game. It's like a chess mentality, so...
Alright, so I think that, well, no, that is the last question, guys. So everyone, thank you guys in the chat for watching today, and thank both of you for coming in. Thank you, Nem, for being here again, and thank you, Soom, for hopping on this time.
Every time again.
Definitely, yeah. And so if you guys ever want to do anything, let me know. Be glad to have both of you back at the same time, or otherwise. I know, unfortunately, I did have to make a little bit of an announcement as far as Lockgar's status. He's going through some personal stuff right now, so He's on a little bit of a hiatus at the moment, trying to get that in order. But while he does that, trying to maybe just kind of keep doing what we've been doing with sort of like all-star guest commentators. So certainly if you guys ever happen to be on around between 5:30 and 7 p.m. and you feel like doing some commentary, just let me know.
I know nobody can replace Blocker, but if you need someone, just message me. So should be available most of the time.
Definitely will do that. So, but yeah, so offer is open. And again, any other high-level players watching right now, or maybe even not so high-level players, always interesting to have varying, skill levels on and stuff, and just to focus on different things, different days. So I can already kind of give a little bit of a preview tomorrow, though. Tex has been working on a lot of things. I don't know if you guys have been watching too much what Tex has been doing recently, but Tex, aka Texanius, has really been going in and trying to push forward the orc metagame a bit, because the orc metagame, it's not stale at all, actually. It's kind of been dealt major blows by numerous nerfs and whatever else, so what used to work generally doesn't work anymore, and Tex and Norney are just kind of two players that are at the forefront of really trying to change how orcs think about their own race. And so already the other day he gave me a replay of a mirror match between himself and Paper Bag, where Tex went ahead and played Mech and utilized some interesting stuff in it. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at that, and I'm going to go and pull out some other Texanius replays, Texanius Orc replays it is tomorrow. So we're going to go ahead and have just sort of a Tex day tomorrow to look and see what he's been doing on that front. And I think a lot of you guys, I've been getting a lot of questions for an Orc Daily. I don't know if I consider this the Orc Daily yet, but certainly I think this will make some progress on that. And I do want to start doing maybe a little more focus. We had like a NEM focus last week because, damn, you did an awesome job in Gross C. And, so I do want to do a little bit more of some player emphasis and some hero race emphasis too for some dailies. So I want to start kind of getting, we've done about, this is the 22nd dailies, so we've done about 20 of these now. And I feel like, okay, we've kind of gotten past a lot of the beginning stuff. I know there's still some desire for some like attack type daily and whatever else. So the more I think about it, the less I feel that this is the medium for that. So we'll see. But I wouldn't expect too much from that. But I do want to start getting into a lot more of kind of really what a lot of you guys expect from a proper daily. So we'll start getting into some of that, even again if we have to do it without Lockhart. But meanwhile, I also want to just remind everyone that the Game Replays Open Season #1 Tournament D signups are going to be closing this Wednesday, so just a couple days from now. So head on over to www.gamereplays.org/dawnofwar2 and sign up if you're interested. There's 128 total slots available, so basically open to just about everyone. As long as you haven't done anything stupid to get yourself banned from Game Replays. I can't really say any names because I'm not allowed to talk about people who are banned, but they know who they are. Particularly one person who could have been in the playoffs, but had to just go and pick a fight with the admins over something that they were both on the same side over. So
I give you a little hint. Just check the standings of the tournament, and you will know who is.
There are asterisks maybe next to players who've had disciplinary action taken against them. But yeah, so don't go picking fights with admins for absolutely no reason when you're on the same side of an argument and you just feel like being I don't even know, but generally we don't like banning people at Game Replays. So anyway, it's usually not much of a problem. So for the majority of you people out there who have managed to stay in good standing with Game Replays, I highly recommend going ahead and registering. And you don't have to look to win the tournament. I mean, it's really great experience. What you really want to do is, if you're looking to really improve your game, it's going to give you matches where you do just that. I mean, not everyone in the tournament is Nem or Soom or a player like that. There are plenty of players in there that are just really good players who want to better their game. Maybe eventually become like Nem and Soom. Maybe just not quite there yet. and you know you could certainly be one of those players. But it's just one of those. Again, it's a chance for a great amount of experience on your part, and you know just sign up, set a goal. You know, figure out like, okay, I want to get to round of 64 even, right? Doesn't seem like a very aggressive goal or anything, right? But that means winning at your round of 128 matchup, which it may not be easy, you know, depending on where you are skill-wise. Maybe get to round of 32, maybe get to round of 16 and get points, depending on where where you are. You know, figure something out, and you know, try it out. Now, obviously, you may get a quote bad draw. You may come up against someone like Nem, but if you do, I know, like for example, my roommate tried it out, and like he round of 128, he got matched up really well. He had a really great round of 128 series. He was really well matched against his opponent, and he managed to win that 2-1. And then the round of 64 got matched up against Edja, and this is in the first open season tournament. This is when Edja won everything, and so you know he didn't do well against Edja, but he taught. You know, Edja actually sat around after the game, and they talked for a bit, and Edja actually helped give him some pointers, and he helped him improve his game basically. And he watched the replays against Edja, and he was really able to see like there were all these things where he was just getting away with like this or that against other players, you know, who weren't as good as Edja, right? But then, you know, when he watched the replays against Edja, he's like, wow, I've just been getting away with doing this for so long. When I play against Edja, I don't get away with this anymore. But if I fix this, like my play just improves across the board. It's a lot of times relatively easy to fix. You just don't see it in your own play until you face that kind of competition. So even getting your posterior handed to you can be a really great experience. And again, we're always here on the daily, by the way. If you want to send us replays from, you know, tournament or whatever else, like tournament replays are just the best thing that you can send to us. We'll be able to help you so much. Because again, we can ensure that the competition is of really high quality. So anyway, I really encourage everyone to go ahead and sign up for that. You know, again, even if you don't think you're going to win, or you don't think that you're top of the top, whatever, give it a try, see how you like it. You know, at a bare minimum, you don't have to deal with drop hackers or anything for a day. So it's kind of a nicer match of Dawn of War 2, more cordial, more friendly. But anyway, so I think that's about all on the announcement front. Again, thank you Soom, thank you Nem. Great job today, and good luck, Nem, and Tournament D. Soom, if you decide to sign up for any of them, good luck in that. Good luck in whatever you do, whatever tournaments you do participate in between now and whenever we see you next. So, and that just about covers it. So again, thank you guys for watching. We will be here again tomorrow, like I mentioned, with some Texania stuff. So we'll be going over that then. 5:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, same place.
I will be watching.
Awesome.
Yep, see you.
Alright, see you guys. This is 5-Star General signing off.
Goodbye, good evening.